What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. Today, I'm here with my friend from the eastern part of the state, James Bajis. I hope I didn't chop that up. He's from Bud Board over in Carlsbad, and he's going to tell us all about them. And before I do that, James, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, man.
What's up? Yeah, my name's James. It's Bajis. You did a lot better than most people have ever
Bajis.
done.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You're good. You're good, man. Yeah, over here in Carlsbad, New Mexico, trying to represent for this part of the state and keep up with Las Cruces and up north, up in Burque.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys are killing it too. Your numbers are up there. Being that close to Texas, you guys got a little blessed too.
Absolutely, it's been great. I mean, we're a big oil field town too, so we have a lot of people from Texas coming in, and then from both sides, El Paso and Lubbock and Midland. So yeah, it's been quite good.
Yeah, they all kind of just meet there. And then some go to Ruidoso or whatever, but it's like one of the first places you hit once you get from that area.
Yeah, that's Texas's Padre Island right there is Ruidoso, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, the West Texas Hamptons.
Absolutely. Oh, there you go. I like that. West Texas Hamptons.
Yeah, it's a little easier off the tongue, huh?
I dig it.
But anyway, everybody, thank you again for joining me on this episode. This one's called I Choose Openachu. We'll explain what that is later. But thank you again, James, for joining me. And yeah, let's go off and we're going to start the show and just go off. What's up with the name of Bud Board? So we're going to go off and talk about the business. So where did the name come from? I'm kind of curious.
Man. The name actually came my freshman year of college up there in UNM.
Okay.
The boys, we're rolling up and doing everything. We had this just this wooden, probably like 1 foot by 1 foot board. Might have been a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. And we just started kind of using that as our rolling tray. We didn't have anything. And one by one, we all like started tagging it or doing a picture or something like that. And we're like, we'll call that the Bud Board. And then starting to get into this industry, I was like, that's what I think I want to call it, Bud Board. And then we started making like a wooden and epoxy rolling tray / organization station, similar to like what Riot puts out in Marley, that type of thing. And, we had some success with it and opened up a smoke shop and then, kind of doubled down on our good fortunes and we're able to get into the cannabis game.
Nice, dude. And, that you say that you have a smoke shop. So like how many businesses are you guys running really like in the cannabis sphere?
We have one pretty good sized smoke shop. I mean, it's about 2,000 square feet.
Okay.
Try to make it as big as we can. We carry everything, we've got like probably 300 bongs on deck, 200 hand pipes, vapes, we got some headies, all the electronics you could think of.
Yeah.
And we also have the dispensary here in town. It's kind of across town. And then we actually just recently, the last 2 months, have been able to get our grow up and running.
Yeah,
it took quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I've been seeing you guys getting that up and going the past, few months and everything.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. There's a lot more red tape than I thought, but it's really been beautiful. Dream come true. That's always been my end goal, is to have a gigantic building full of bud. So being able to do that's been great.
Nice, dude. Well, maybe you could take us on a tour one day or something. Like show all everybody.
Whenever you come down, brother, you just let me know.
There we go. Yeah, we could do that. Whenever I'm down with the Cruces Craft guys, we'll go check it out and everything.
Sounds good, man.
So yeah, like that's great. So tell me about Bud Board. Like, what is your guys' kind of thing? Your little niche? Like it seems like you guys are kind of the Swiss Army.
I try to keep it authentic.
Yeah.
Keeping it 100 with everybody. We got into this, and I was like, I just want to take care of stoners, give them good options on great products. And not rip their head off while doing it, because some glass shops they're pretty proud of their stuff.
Yeah.
It makes it tough. And Carlsbad's never really had a variety. We've had one. I mean, all growing up, we had one smoke shop, the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
And it's last couple of years they haven't had much, and so it was really kind of like a stoner duty to be able to open. In a sense, it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad to see that, because you have like, grow stores like, Dr. Green here in Cruces, they went ahead and opened their own and, they have their grow going. So it's good to see that, there's other people that were kind of cannabis industry get into the industry a little bit further. You know what I mean? Like into the legal side with the flower and everything. It's really everybody where everybody's at. That's great to see.
No, yeah. And we really we're our owners, like me and my partner Lex, we've been smoking since we were young teenagers, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, whatever it is, like us all.
Take pride, I guess, in it. And being down here in Carlsbad, it's kind of, like I said, a red state, a little bit taboo, but luckily we were loud enough, transparent enough, and kind of put off the conception that we're the professionals. You can ask us anything about cannabis and we'll tell you good, bad, in between, what's best for you, what you can use this for, and really kind of like a service, more or less, has kind of been the way I look at things.
Did you just take that from one of your Google reviews? I could have swore I read that.
It might be, man.
I was reading some of them, and I kind of read something that was similar to that. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, like maybe you guys are just living up to the name, and people are noticing.
We're trying, man. I tell all my guys, if I ever hear you lying to a customer, I was like, I mean, that's a no. So just be yourself. We have technically the greatest job in the world. We get to sell weed and smoking accessories. So just concentrate on fun. We've been very blessed to get a bunch of like-minded individuals that didn't just want to be in a smoke shop for a couple hours a day, but like really apply themselves and see how far they can take their own talents. And that's probably been one of the biggest things for our company is we vibe very well. We all kumbaya together, and then whenever times are bad, we definitely feel it. But I would say the team's probably been the coolest thing that we've been able to develop since opening.
Yeah, and that's important. That's something that a lot of people overlook. Training your team, ensuring that they're educated, they're putting out the correct information, and also team building. That team building is very important. Now, I'm not a big fan of being like, this is your family. I'm like, I have a family, but team building is very important.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're going to be working, so closely together, like bud tenders and stuff like that, and all that. So yeah, that's one thing that if any other businesses are watching and you're kind of like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, team building. Something simple. Take
chemistry fixes a lot of outside issues, I say.
Yeah,
because whenever if you can be truthful with your fellow coworker and you guys can truly strive off that, and you both want it, especially in the triumphs and in the bad times, sometimes you get a crazy customer and throw you off your game, so you might not be the best with the next buy comes in, but luckily, like I said, with the team thing, it really bounces off well.
Yeah, 100%. You just vibe off of one or the other, or one that can pick up a little slack off the other while the other's kind of recovering, kind of thing.
Absolutely,
move on from there. So that's great to hear. And picking a good team is super important. Because if you don't have a good team, you're gonna struggle. Because some of these places.
Absolutely.
So what kind of license type do you guys have? Or do like you mentioned, you have the grow, you have the dispensary.
Yeah. So
what else?
We actually have our retail location with the manufacturer's license. That way we're able to package on site. We found it was too hard to deli style the type of volume that we were seeing at the beginning.
Yeah.
So we figured that was best. Try to keep a couple days ahead on pre-packaged, so that way it still stays fresh. And then we got the grow, and that's I want to say it's a class 2,000 plant permit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And we haven't put a manufacturing license on it yet, but we probably will at that location. And we did actually apply for our delivery license. Haven't been able to use it yet, but we're hopeful for that soon.
And I'm glad that we have that, and that was added into the bill years ago. But, not many places have really taken advantage of that. So I'm glad that you guys have, said, shoot, we're going to go delivery. Why not? Because the CCD was actually giving some good statistics yesterday, and they're looking at other states that, delivery, more people will go back to that dispensary more than like going in person or even drive through, so that's, it was an interesting statistic to hear. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah. So, maybe more people do delivery and get some more weed off the couch.
It takes it back to the roots a little bit. I mean, that's how, before it was all legal, that's how most of us were probably getting it, meeting the plug in Walmart parking lot. But I think any convenience item, especially cannabis, I think people will probably get behind, as long as it's reasonable. Bring it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know I would definitely sit on my butt and, hey, let's order an 8, just like a pizza. That'd be great.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm really glad you guys are doing that. Any like, and I always ask people this, any plans for a consumption lounge or anything like that in the future?
Yeah, so our Hobbs location, we got a pretty decent sized piece of property there in Hobbs.
Okay.
Working on our parking lot right now, but we would love to probably put something on the back edge of that. We almost applied for it, but then we actually learned that you have to be pretty far in the process to actually get the licensing done on the consumption side. So once we actually open in Hobbs and we're able to work on it, we hope make it a goal for 2024 for sure.
Okay.
By the end, we'll have a
Nice.
consumption lounge there. Might be able to do like a little bit of outdoor oasis, depending on all the city ordinances and what we're able to get away with.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's the plan for now. We
Heck
would,
yeah.
we would love to do that.
And I heard a second city, I heard Hobbs, and it's great that you guys are doing that because I tell people, we have all these Texans coming here, but we have to figure out a way to like keep them here for a little bit so they spend more money. And, that's one way to do it. And I'm glad you guys are doing it. So, I mean, you said, Carlsbad and Hobbs. Are any other cities that you guys are in or planning to go to?
Oh, I would love to spread, 5, 6, 7, 8 shops all over. I mean, Las Cruces obviously is somewhere. I personally, Las Cruces is probably my favorite place in New Mexico. I think it's beautiful. I love the people. I'd love to put one there. We're also looking still, on the border towns, Clovis, Tatum, Roswell, and pretty much anywhere, man. Anywhere that we can find a place that's kind of been the trouble lately is actually finding real estate that's you're able to get for cannabis purposes and that meet within state and city guidelines.
Yeah, I see that as the issue too. There's so many little components that need to come together perfectly that it's sometimes like a miracle that it even happens in the first place.
Yeah, man. It's a lot more than opening a smoke shop. That was for sure.
Yeah. So I when I was looking at the building and everything, like I said, I haven't been to Carlsbad. I noticed, one of them in Carlsbad, it's an interesting shape. Like, it looks like it's a little old photo hut or something like that. What was that once at one time?
It's like a perfect circle, and it's like kind of like a 2-tier cake, So we got like a nice, like it almost. Some people say it looks like a spaceship. Looks like the little thing you put on top of your pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a round building, and the Murrays on the building actually went to high school with their granddaughter, so have a little bit of relationship there. And it used to be Dr. Murray, a dentist, used to be his dentist office. For years in Carlsbad, probably 20, 30 years. And then he retired and a vet took over that spot. And then the vet actually moved right across the street, and we were fortunate enough to slide on in. We've always, we want to shock and awe the best we can and put a show on for our community. And it was like, that's too cool of a building right on a main street. I was like, let's do it. Now, a round building has its drawbacks. Very hard to hang stuff on the walls. Very hard.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because even posters.
We didn't think about that. And floors, man, we put in wooden floors, and it's not the easiest to do that either. So we've had a little bit of learning curves with the round building, but yeah, it's a great building.
People listening, if you want a building, try not to go for round then if you want easy.
Yeah.
If you want for ease.
I would advise a square, absolutely.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention this earlier, I forgot, but I want to mention it now. He mentioned that he's, his category of growing, it was number 2. In the state, if you guys didn't know, they categorize the different growing number of plants in different categories. So it goes in, certain numbers. I don't know off the top of my head right now, but it does go in certain numbers, 500 to 2,000, whatever, 2,000, et cetera, up and up and up until all the way you get to 20,000. So that's why it's called a class. And that's, why it was mentioned. And we've never said that on the show or mentioned on the show. And I really wanted to make sure that I educated the public on that, because that's something that people probably don't really know is a thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. And even manufacturing, I want to say it's like ours is a class 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's not, I know we can't make edibles, but if I'm not mistaken, we can do like triple threats and stuff like that.
Hash holes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because those are pretty popular here in New Mexico. And, I I've been seeing it in other states, but here in New Mexico, well, in the South, actually, I guess they're way more popular than they are up north. But, I enjoy them. They're fun. And,
I think it's a great creation. I think that's another W for our entire stoner nation, that we were able to figure out something so great. Because hash holes, even some of the Canagars that some of these guys are putting out are doty. They're gas. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's fire. Speaking of fire, how long have you been growing for?
Oh, so I mean, I grew a little bit in high school, but not serious. I just put a couple plants in the ground and watered them. But serious growing, like actually applying a little bit of science and some bro science and trial and error in a notebook, probably about 5.5, 6 years ish.
Yeah,
in that range. And then technically we've legally been growing about 2 months, 3 months now.
Got it. On the industrial side.
Industrial side, yeah. But actually got one of my good friends. He's actually like our master grower. He probably knows a little bit more than I do, but I know a few things that he doesn't do. So we run a pretty good little team atmosphere out there. His name's Jose Cruz Lopez.
Cool. Shout out to him.
Absolutely.
It's hard work to grow cannabis.
Man, none of us had ever done anything on the scale that we're doing. Just one wasn't really possible funds wise or location. So, I mean, we've got 2 rooms and each room's vertical. So we, per rack, we have 90 plants, 360 flowering plants in one room and 360 flowering plants in another.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's little stiff, man. Quite a few plants in there, but it's beautiful.
I've been watching the build out and everything. Yeah, it's really pretty in there. I like the vertical. What medium are you guys going with?
Cocoa core. Actually, we're old school fans of Fox Farms, man. We're using Coco Loco. Actually.
I was gonna say, is the Coco Loco?
You know it, bro. I mean, it's never done me wrong a cocoa. We'd like to eventually probably get into Grodan cubes, possibly, but Coco for now. We're running an Athena Pro line.
Okay.
We love it so far. I mean, for not being able to go organic live soil, this would probably be the next best preferred option in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, because they're finding out that the plant can't tell between organic and synthetic anyway, so it's like
I'll have to bring that up a few times. I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of those things.
Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and
that's going to get some people talking.
Yeah, I could talk about growing all day, and I've been growing for like 10 years. But I try to learn something all the time, especially scientifically. There's so much bro science out there that you have to combat it sometimes.
Oh, dude, yeah, and I've tried a lot of bro science, like throwing ice on your roots at the end of harvest. I think that's the most famous one. Or CalMag, bro, like just put some CalMag on it, man. I swear, every Reddit, YouTube forum you'll ever look on growing, somebody's in there saying, put some CalMag.
It just takes the CalMag. And if you guys don't know, CalMag is pretty much the grower's version of the Mexican mother's Vicks. Just put the Vicks on it. It's pretty much just a solve it all kind of solution thing. So yeah, that's funny that you bring that up. I remember hearing that CalMag.
Someone needs to make a T-shirt of that one.
They do. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll work on that with some friends or something.
Absolutely.
Like that. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you've been saying you've been growing for like 5-6 years. What are some tips that you could give? And I like asking other growers this. Something that you've learned yourself that you can tell someone that's just starting out growing. Like, shit, I wish I knew that when I started.
My biggest thing is probably root health.
Okay.
I got away from plastic pots just because with fabric pots you allow a little bit more air to get through, and it's not as rough on your root ends. Whenever those roots hit the plastic ends, it doesn't necessarily bruise them, but they say it weakens them.
Yeah,
that's might be a bro science on that one, but it's something that kind of made sense to me. And also, you're able to kind of tell more or less that you're fully saturating the plant with water. A lot of people are worried about overwatering and stuff like that. I like a little bit of runoff, not too much. But my big thing is making sure that I'm fully saturating the root.
Yeah.
And inspect the plant as much as you can. Don't overfeed it or try to overthink it, but you can never spend too much time looking at your plant, looking for regularities, taking some personal notes. And probably my other biggest tip that I probably learned this last year that's been working well for us in clones, and this may be common knowledge for everybody else, but I just figured it out, cutting right around the node. The closest node, it seems, and scraping at a decent angle, getting a little bit of that membrane exposed really has cut down quite a few days on our cloning.
Okay, nice.
So those would be my secret sauce for now.
Well, new growers out there, even experienced growers, you can learn something new every day. If that's something new for you, take it to the bag or take it to the house, whatever, try it out. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Because there's a lot of people out there who are new to growing still. Who are just this is their first season. So I always try to help them out a little bit with some information. Especially if I'm talking to another grower. So we all have our own little ways, or maybe you have something I never thought about. Like use a chopstick this way to make it do this. It's like what?
We do some low stress training as well. I think that's kind of good. We do obviously a defold going into flower. I think it's a game of little things. When you do all the little things, you get that. I mean, anybody can grow bad weed. They say, it's a little pretty damn tough to grow that top shelf amazing craft cannabis. It gets everybody excited. Yeah. And it does. If you want to do elite things, you got to do all the elite little things.
Yeah, exactly. I tell people when they ask me, how hard is it to grow weed? I'm like, growing weed really ain't hard. Growing good weed or really amazing weed, now that's the challenge, because there's so many little things that go into it. Genetics being one of the huge ones that go into that. Having good genetics will save you a lot of heartache.
I mean, be real. I mean, a tip: save the money, buy the better genetics and the value seeds. More than likely, you're going to get a much better result, even if you pay double if your pocket's able to afford it.
Yeah, I mean, if you pay $10 a seed, I mean that's about the going rate for really good genetics. Sometimes a little bit more, but I'd say drop that money for the good genetics if you really want a good product in the end, especially if you're in the industry. If you're in the industry, that should be your top priority. Making sure that you have that money aside so you can get those genetics, be it a clone, seed, whatever. It costs money.
We did a ginormous pheno hunt. I think we popped 300 something plants over like 37 strains, and really got to look at a lot of different aspects of a bunch of plants. So I mean, we were able to see some even like renowned companies out in the genetic world didn't do as good as we thought they would, and some that don't have that big name yet are absolutely dominating. There's a lot of good genetics out there if you hunt for them.
Yeah. There's a few out there that like some people just don't really know. I think Thug Pug is one that not so many people know, but they're renowned and all that. You're completely right. And sometimes I am a little like Humboldt Genetics, the one that's everywhere now. Oh man, they're hit and miss sometimes.
we ran a few Humboldts. Pheno Wolf, that's kind of been my new favorite the last couple of years now. Actually, he's up in Michigan. He's doing some different stuff. He's really, it's Pheno Wolf or Green Wolf Genetics.
I think it's Green Wolf. I think it's Green Wolf. Yeah.
I think his Instagram's Pheno Wolf or something like that.
Probably.
But they're great, man. They're great. We're running a Slurple Fritz of theirs right now that's stupid. I mean, it's a ding dong, that's for sure.
Heck yeah. I'll have to come up and try some too when I'm there, and give you guys a visit, support a little bit, you know what I mean?
Amen,
that's great. So do you guys carry just your own product, or are you carrying other people's products too?
So right now, we haven't even got our first harvest yet. So I'm still buying what's out in the market. This October, looks like probably the first part of October will be our first 6 strains that we've actually been able to cultivate will be in the dispensaries.
This Croptober is going to be interesting.
We're pumped. And we're able to basically harvest 6 strains, or 3 strains rather, 6 strains a month, 3 strains every 2 weeks on a cycle continuously. So we're really excited to get some of these strains out here. There's some new exotic stuff, some different terpene profiles in this part of the state's used to seeing. Super excited.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm glad to see that the eastern part of the state's getting some fire too. There's some really good cannabis coming out from that direction, and I'm excited to see when the whole state just is coming around and just throwing fire at each other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's gonna be a great day. I love the competition and everything. It just makes us all better growers. So I mean, you have a great, dispensary, you have a great smoke shop, you have the grow going, and you're very involved with the community. I saw that you guys were part of like a 5K run or something like that.
We really, I mean, as long as we're able to, we don't try to tell anybody no around here. We did a 5K color run, Relay for Life. We sponsor our local high school, Little League, travel softball teams, anywhere that we can help out. I mean, the community's been more than good to me. more than good to me. I couldn't have asked for, a better response to opening these businesses. So I try to give back every chance we can.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys are doing that because I feel like there's not enough places here in Las Cruces that are doing it because we have like 117 dispensaries now or something. The CCD updated like a bunch of the numbers yesterday during the hearing. I was like, whoa, that's a lot. So there's 117 dispensaries, and I feel that some of these could be doing more community work like you guys are doing. Supporting more. Now some will be sponsors for events, but it's events to get like kids drunk or something. Get the 21-year-old college kids drunk or something like that, or some are rap shows, which is fine, but I kind of want to see more involvement in the community stuff.
Community building. You can throw those events because we're gonna have those anyways, but get creative, try to do something a little bit different, shake it up.
Yeah.
And that's real community growth. And a lot of people still think weed is taboo. So you getting out there in the community with people that may never associate with someone such as myself, you just show them, hey, that we're not bad people either,
Yeah, we're people too,
Absolutely.
Just like everybody else. And that also helps kill the stigma. We've been battling the stigma for so long, and we still are at this point right now as I speak. But this will help with killing the stigma and showing that we're another industry, and we care about our community.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a dispensary here in Cruces that does all the footsteps of Budboard, like they're doing, that's pretty cool what you guys are doing. I really appreciate that. A lot of respect to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think our industry in a whole may care more about their consumers than most other industries, to be honest. That's something I've known just because I've done other stuff. Like I was in the car business for a decade, and can't say car salesmen care about you as much as you do whenever you sell somebody weed. You can actually have an experience with someone where they come in. It's not just someone that smokes every day, but they're coming in for the first time. They're scared, and you're really able to help them. That's something that not a whole lot of industries other than medicine, are able to accomplish.
True.
And we took a different approach. That's been really cool to see stuff like that.
Heck yeah, 100%. And the cool thing is you have almost free reign to do this cannabis industry any way we want, really. There's really no like set model. I see some people doing the Colorado model where they have like the separate room, they have like big guy in there looking at you, snarling, let me see your ID. Then you go inside and everybody's all nice. And then you have the people that walk in, you have a little podium there and the guy's just checking the ID and you walk in. So, you have like the different varieties of dispensaries. Even in Albuquerque, you have gas stations. You don't see that everywhere. I'm seeing that in memes now. It's hilarious. The Albuquerque dispensaries that are gas stations. They're memes. That I
wonder how the gas station weed is. I know the food's not very good. I don't know about gas station weed. But, at the same time, that's something cool to see. I never in a million years would have thought convenience store selling weed. So that, I guess, great day.
Yeah.
Great day in America.
Get a Slurpee and a doobie, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad combo at all, man. That's great.
Sounds like a great combo to me. Yeah, 100%. Well, that's great. You guys have like a website for people to like order online or anything?
We do. We converted over to Dutchy. We weren't big, gigantic fans of BioTrack, unfortunately. So we do have a Dutchy website that we're able to order off of. I think it's budboard.com, if I'm not mistaken. Might be Budboard Dispensary. I didn't write that down.
After the show, we'll get it, and I'll put it in the description for everybody, so you guys can just click away. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I wanted to get that. So where are you guys located at, and where can people find you, when they come to visit Carlsbad?
So our dispensary is at 618 West Pierce Street. It's one of the main road here in Carlsbad. We got the big Budboard B right out front. Can't miss us. Our smoke shop is at 408 South Canyon, 401, sorry. 401 South Canyon. Got a couple of ones and eights. Big thing, it's a green. We got a bunch of Budboard green on it. Can't really miss us. And then Hobbs, like I said, should be open the next month or two. It's at 2206 Marland.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And what is your guys' hours of operation? That's what I meant with the last question. My bad.
Gotcha. Monday through Thursday, we're open up 8 to 10:30. Thursday or Friday and Saturday, we're open to 8 to midnight. And then Sunday, we're open from 10 to 8.
Nice. Cool.
And the smoke shop's pretty much the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
You guys run any deals or like discounts or anything for like industry or veterans?
We do run veterans constantly. We do some industry stuff over here at the smoke shop. I don't think we've actually put the settings in
Okay.
over at the dispensary, but I do know we give some discounts from here and there. I've
Nice.
seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have like a kind of like a clearance shelf.
Okay.
So to say, maybe something that's ending, it's getting close to a fresh date, you know, I'm marking it down for cost, or, you know, something that just didn't hit the way we wanted it to. And then we always have, you know, like Munchie Monday, pre-roll Tuesday, wax Wednesdays. So we've always got a combination of maybe 5 to 10 different products.
Nice.
Discounted down at all times.
Heck
Give
yeah.
a birthday doobie on your birthday. You just, just the basics. We haven't got anything too spectacular on the discounts yet, but it's something we're working on it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate that. You know, it's cool that you guys are, you know, and I see a lot of places doing that, you know, like a medical Monday or, you know, like edible Taco Tuesday or whatever, you know.
We're actually talking about doing a Taco Tuesday and seeing if we can get a local business here to team up with us and start doing some tacos.
That'd be great.
I mean, what goes better than a doobie than some good street tacos, you know?
Right. And actually on 420, I know Top Crop here in town, with your purchase, I think of over like $40, you got free tacos. I was like, what?
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, I will go get those tacos.
Good move on their part. That was great.
Oh, that was a fantastic move. Well, anyway, thank you so much. Do you guys have any like thing planned in store for, you know, that you want to share?
Let me think here. I think you'll see a couple fire strains that'll kind of surprise the state over this next 6 months. We've got a couple of heaters that we've been working on for a few years. I would stay tuned for our Donnie bananas, our Krypton cookie, and our stripper glitter. Those will be 3 strains. Those will be 3 strains that I mean should make some noise. I mean, we're happy about them. Got great terpene profiles. Then hopefully maybe towards the end of this next year, we may even have a little bit of hash to be able to put out, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I can help you with that one.
Yeah,
so we'll talk more. So, but anyway, thank you so much for joining me, everybody, Bud Board. And I look forward to keeping you on with the rest of the conversation and everything. So thank you so much, James, for joining me. Thank you, Bud Board, for being here. And, you know, I can't wait to visit you guys and, you know, check out the operation and everything, because hopefully by then, you know, you guys will be roaring and going and, you know, have your perpetual harvest going. So
absolutely. Come down in October, bro. It'll be a good one.
All right. And it'll be cooler too.
Yeah, it's so 110 every day down here.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's finally cooling down here. But we're moving on, everybody. We're going to be talking about the next topics. I got 2 more topics to talk about, and they kind of are similar to each other because the first one has to deal with CCD. So New Mexico got a new person in the CCD, a new director, and his name is Todd Stevens. He's a veteran of the Colorado's cannabis industry, the legal cannabis industry, and he's a veteran through Native Roots. They're a cannabis company in Colorado. I've actually been there a couple times. I've actually visited them myself when I'm visiting my brother or my family. You know, I think they have some on the border over in the Farmington area near Durango, Colorado, and all that area. So he has experience there. Doesn't seem that he has any experience on the government side, you know, or, you know, doing any of this job, but they do feel CCD does feel confident that he's going to do well. I mean, how do you kind of feel about that? You know, the guy from Colorado, Native Roots, coming into New Mexico, then being in charge at the CCD as a director.
Man, I'd love if they had some New Mexico roots or some homage to New Mexico.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. I don't know a whole lot about Native Roots as a company. If one of those big ones, you know, it's that corporate weed model coming in. Yeah. You know, I don't think that's anything good. I think we need somebody that's actually on a level, there at least has been on the ground floor, boots on the ground, that kind of sees the industry, has been in the dispensaries, been in the grows. Because it's one thing on putting rules, but you also can't necessarily jeopardize business either.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
So yeah, that's not good.
I know, and to be honest, this is actually our 4th director in the last like 2 years. So I mean, like they kind of come and go. And what happens, from what I've seen, is they'll go to this position, then they'll get a better paid position with, like, you know, some MSO here in the state, and they'll leave that position, and someone else will come in. But it seems this is the second one from Colorado as well. So that's why I'm like, this is a little weird. Why do you guys keep bringing people from Colorado? And the thing that kind of irritates me is they bring that like Colorado-ness with them, with like the way the regulations are there. And that doesn't necessarily work in New Mexico, because we've tried things like that and it just never works for us. And I keep telling people, and today I actually looked it up. So New Mexico's population density is 17. Colorado's is 52. And, that's quite a big disparity when you're talking about population density per square mile. Like that's fairly, different. So when you implement certain things in Colorado and it works, in New Mexico, that will not work. Like in Colorado, there's certain areas that don't sell cannabis at all. Like when I go visit my dad's family in Fremont County over in Florence, I can't buy cannabis there. I have to go over to Pueblo, 30 minutes or 40 minutes away, and hope that someone's open, or hope that they have cannabis, or like hope I can find it. They usually do, but at the same time, like in New Mexico, that's not going to work because you don't have that there. Here, sometimes the nearest place is like an hour away, 2 hours away, like it doesn't make sense. So that's why I agree with you. Having someone boots on the ground from New Mexico who's been in the industry here, who knows what's up, I kind of feel that would be more fitting for us. And I get he brings an insight from another state, maybe there's some ideas that he has, et cetera, because he was at the Courts, Corrections, and Justice Committee hearing yesterday, and I'll touch more on that later. But I'm a little reluctant, I guess, as all New Mexicans are. We don't like outsiders, regardless. But yeah, I'm a little reluctant about this. How else do you feel about especially with the information? I mean, this is the fourth director in 2 years.
I mean, I always hear rumors. The CCD is short-staffed. On this and on that. I hope they're able to attract some good help, because I mean that it's such an important position in our state that we need somebody that is kicking butt and wants to do well for the state. And it's hard for me to think that someone outside of the state has our state's best intentions, as well as always a conflict of interest. You said that our past couple grand poobahs at the CCD have moved on to in a position with a cannabis company. So that's somewhat worrisome.
Yeah.
Are you putting in rules to help these companies benefit more than others? We've all heard, these guys are bringing in weed from California or Oklahoma. What are they going to do about that, and how are they going to make it easier for the craft guys to stick around?
Yeah,
more or less. And who knows if he's just got big city interests? I'm afraid that it probably won't trickle down to the small guys.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Because New Mexico and Colorado are two different states. Like 100%. My dad's from there. I spent most of my summers as a kid there, and some winters. So I know how different they are. It's night and day.
Culture, even environment. I mean, they probably have a little bit more different types of setups than we're able to do. I mean, we're pretty hot down here.
Yeah.
So I mean, not even knowing the little things, and the little things like that are going to matter, I think.
100%. And that killed a lot of people from California too. They came in thinking that our humidity is exactly the same and our temperature is a little more stable like theirs, when that is not the case about New Mexico. No. It's hard to grow here. It's not.
It's a bipolar state.
Yeah, it is.
It's dry and it's hot. I mean, at least the southern part. I know none of us get too much rain.
Yeah.
So it is. It's a desert.
Yeah, it's definitely a desert. So my other worry that I had, and I forgot to mention, is Colorado doesn't have a medical cannabis program anymore, I don't think, and that's something that makes me afraid. When you bring someone from another state like that, they're going to be like, well, let's just get rid of the medical cannabis program, screw all those people, and so
I actually heard a couple of years back when I was at a dispensary up there. I want to say Wolfpack, and they were talking about how medical has been trash and they're about to do away with it. And I was like, no way, man. They've got to be making way too much. So if they're come from running a broken model, then we don't need none of that here, at all.
Because no one's done it right yet. Like no one's done this correctly yet, and we're still figuring it out too. I think we've gone a great direction with it, but we still haven't done it right yet. So taking stuff that other states have done that not necessarily have worked is what worries me. Like the CCD came up and has this whole education thing that they want you to do before licensing and even to get a renewal now, and it's for the owners. It's not even for just bud tenders, which I would understand if it was for bud tenders. For bartending, you have to do it in the state and working with other things. It makes sense. But for like the owner, that doesn't make any sense. You have a business to run, who's going to be paying for this? How long is this going to take? Because then you have to find someone to literally replace you while you're taking these classes for whatever reason. And, they don't require this from the other industry, the adult industries like, alcohol and tobacco and all that. They don't require you to have this ongoing education, just to have the business. And that's a little ridiculous.
They should do something like in the car business. I know, for example, you get a franchise. The owner is on a lot of the licensing, but you usually, just to be able to qualify for that, you have to have like what they call a dealer principal.
Mm-hmm.
So these owners put someone in place, kind of like a CEO that maybe does know the industry the way they're supposed to.
That's fair.
Regulatory wise, but yeah, man, it's slippery slope there,
It is. And it's such a new industry that I kind of feel implementing a rule like this is too soon, because we're still going through that natural weeding out process. Like we're going through the natural purge right now. That bubble bursted. There's too many places. And I knew that I've been talking about this for months. I knew this is going to happen, that now the numbers are going down. We're 30 licenses less than we were last month. And that number is probably going to keep going down. And the CCD, with their crackdown and the mass crackdown, that's going to go down even more. So I kind of feel like something like this is a little too soon, but something that you mentioned, that's actually a really good idea. Because I have been seeing a lack of, education and everything, but I also knew that was going to happen in this industry, because I warned people last year. I said, if you're coming into this industry ignorant, you're going to have a bad time. And some of those people have already went out of business. Mm-hmm. So that's just my advice is, like you said, if you don't know, hire somebody that does and put them in charge.
Absolutely. I mean, we got to start treating it a little bit differently. Like I said, it's almost a cross between a true medical business, like a hospital. So we've got to be pros, but at the same time, it isn't rocket science. But I'm not big on rules. I don't like the state to overstep, especially in business, more or less.
Me too.
I'm learning this regulatory stuff, and I'm trying to take it with a grain of salt. But unless this test or these certifications are just extremely beneficial, you know what I mean? Why are we doing that? You know what I mean? I think that the owners are probably smart enough owners, leave it up to them to hire the help. Most places like mine, for example, we make sure everybody is very sufficient before they're, out pitching weed to customers. You have to be. Yeah. You have to be. But some of these guys don't know. But to require it of them, I agree. I think there's 500 other things we need to figure out before that.
100%. This is something that I've heard people say, oh, this will help weed out the people that shouldn't be here. We'll lose 10% right away. And I'm like, that sounds like an arbitrary number, first off. But second off, we don't even know if that's right, because most people cheat. So like, they're just going to pay somebody or pay a cheat system to cheat this test. So like, it would be stupid in the first place, and it would just be a money grab by something.
So, a revenue stream for the state, something like that.
Yeah, or a particular person or whoever, someone's friend.
And we've had bigger hurdles as far as like weaning people out. I don't know how many people aren't going to keep their business over a little bit of training. I mean, it could deter some people. Maybe they give us a tax credit if we took it. I could get behind that.
Yeah, but they can't even do that these days.
No breaks, bro. No breaks.
Yeah, no breaks at all. So either way, congrats to Todd. I wish him luck, and I hope he does well for the state. And if he implements something we don't like, we're going to be vocal about it, man. Welcome to New Mexico. So wish him luck. So 100%. Good luck. So moving on, we're going to talk about the last topic. The Courts Correction and Justice Committee hearing that was here in Las Cruces yesterday. And a lot of people didn't know about this. And I got wind probably 24 hours before it happened. And what it was it's a committee. And if you guys don't know, certain committees are made of different people. This one was made of members of our state House and Senate. So representatives from both were in this committee along with other people. So the CCD was there to speak. And then they had a panel of, industry experts and everything that were there too, which, my issue, I have an issue with panels like that, just to start out with. There wasn't the people on it. I just have an issue with panels, especially small panels, because it doesn't really necessarily reflect what the whole industry thinks or feels. It's just what those individuals really feel. And then none of the people have really asked, especially on the panel, what any of us thought or felt. So it wasn't a reflection of anyone's opinion but those people. And I kind of feel town halls in that sense for like industry would be a little bit better. But that's my only gripe about that. So they came here and pretty much just had a really day long, like went from 9 a.m. to like 4, almost 5 p.m. Ooh. And they had a lunch break and everything, and it was all day. CCD came in, and we talked about the cannabis rules and everything they've implemented, the new ones that we talked about. Some of the legislators did have some concerns about the education thing because it did seem a little overreaching. So that was great to see that they did have concerns like, well, why are we doing this? And those of you in the cannabis industry, if you can get to Santa Fe August 31st, or if you can write in a written comment, please do. And if you're for it or against it, but they want to hear from the industry, so that way they can mold this industry for us.
More feedback, the better. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And they beg us for it. We don't give it to them because we hate the government so much. But this is the game we signed up for, guys, and this is the game we're going to have to play. And I'm sorry. You should have thought of that before you got in the cannabis industry legally.
It's I think every owner and advocate's job to almost personally involve themselves in this, just because, if you're a license holder, man, you need to be paying attention to at least these emails they're sending out. To you. If not, they could do some detrimental stuff to your business and you not even know it, or be too late for you to do anything or speak up on it at that point. But I think that's any regulatory business. You gotta, to be good at it and to stay ahead of the curve, you literally have to stay ahead of the curve. Keep watching. Like you're probably one of the most involved that I've seen in the state that's public about it and everything, and you go to more than anything. So, and there's still so much to learn.
Oh, dude, I'm still learning, to this day. So, the learning never stops. And, I was just lucky enough to be doing this for so long and able to share it with everybody. So I appreciate the shout out on that one, man. But yeah, this is something important, and I try to get, the information out as quick as possible. But, owners, you guys are gonna have to take it upon yourselves, because I'm not always going to be here. Chad isn't going to be, the only guy that can give you the information at all times. I get old and I move on to different things too. So, that this isn't always going to be what I do for you guys, but it's what I'm able to do right now.
Just get you elected at the CCD then.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, suit and tie. I don't know, man. Those are uncomfortable. Basketball shorts for everybody.
I was gonna say, we'll change the dress code for you.
Right. Comfy clothes, everybody. Okay, cool. But yeah, it was a good thing that that happened. I was really glad that they brought it down to Las Cruces, and I kind of wish they did it in more places around the state so they can get more of an idea instead of just going to one area in the state, which we get forgotten a lot about, in the southern part of the state. And so the northern part gets all the attention, and they listen to them the most. So I thanked all of them for just being here, and I was like, thank you for being here. Like, some of the legislators came from Santa Fe. Some came from, other parts of the state, the eastern part of the state, the western part of the state, so they came from all over. And there was a lot of our representatives from, Las Cruces. So that was great to see. But it was really great to see that they just did this in the first place for Las Cruces, a whole day of cannabis, and, they talked about the laws, how the law's been going, this and that, the issues they're seeing, what's proposed. And then Katie Duhigg came in. If you guys don't know, she's one of our representatives in the state. And she is the one who did put up this, pretty much the board, the panel of people that were answering the questions. And, because if you guys don't know, she was a big part of the bill that actually passed the CRA, and she helped write it and she sponsored it. So it was kind of up to her to really promote this bill. It's kind of her baby. She even showed up with weed leaf earrings. It was kind of cool. So she did that. They updated everybody. They got to answer some questions from the senators and the House representatives, and it was really cool. Like I said, I have a problem with panels, just to start out with, just as they are, and the reason why is because I just don't agree with everything that people say, and that was the case yesterday. They had a lawyer from Colorado who represents Swazi and our Greenleaf and all those guys, and a lot of things that he said, Colorado, we do this, and Colorado, we do that, and blah, blah, blah. To be honest, he kind of looked like one of my cousins from Colorado. I was like, are we a relative? But I just couldn't get behind a lot of things that he was saying on how to run it in New Mexico because, like we've talked about before, this isn't Colorado. It's New Mexico, and it just doesn't work here with certain things that people implement. And I get it. It's ideas, and it works in Colorado, or it works for them, or they feel that it works for them. I've heard other people from the industry tell me that they hate it and it's dog shit, but that's coming from someone who represents someone who has a lot to lose. So that's coming from there.
We have a very unique economy in New Mexico. I mean, I'm not going to bust out any economics or anything, but very, very, very different to what Colorado's doing, especially if you split the state up into sectors. I mean, very diverse marketplace, and that's going to be really hard to have someone that hasn't spent considerable time in the areas, at least to know the culture of the people, to be able to make the proper, responsible decisions.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's a very grounded person for all of our sakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something else there, man.
It really was. And if you guys want to watch the whole hearing, pretty much the whole day, you can find it on the NM Legis website under webcast. There's a little tab that says webcast. If you go under there, you can find it. It's I already said the committee. You can go and look under that. And it should be there. You can look under date and probably find it. It should be under archives or something that says, there was a past recording. If you guys want to go and, if you don't believe me or want to see everything for yourself, go ahead. Some people like going over there and clipping things for advocacy purposes to, show it later, like, oh, this is what they said. We used to do that back in the day. But some people still do. But if you do want to watch it, they did record it. I recorded a little bit on my Instagram. And then I realized that it was on the NM Legis site because the guy that was recording in front of me, he was working for the state. And I was like, oh, that's the NM Legis site. Okay, cool. I know where it's at. So, because I had no clue at first. But it was cool to see the panel and the different opinions and experiences that people have had in the industry and how they feel we should go about it. Of course, they kept talking about pausing licenses or stopping licenses. And this is where I want to ask you, someone in the industry too. How do you feel about stopping or pausing licenses?
Man, if we would have put a fixed count whenever the bill came out, that'd have been one thing. But the way the legislature is written, it would be hard for me to say, if this is this guy's lifelong dream, he meets all the qualifications, not to let him do it. But at the same time, saturation, obviously being a business owner, you do have to put that into consideration. But overall, human rights, I don't think that would be technically a fair thing for anybody to do. I mean, it's just, who are we to say you can't do that? If they would have told me I couldn't have, I'd have, thrown a fit, been up at the Santa Fe office every day, Yeah. So I don't know. I think they would have done better if maybe treated similar to the liquor program, possibly, where you have X amount of licenses, and then that's where we would feel that the state is capped at, maybe something like that. But not until they rewrite quite a bit of legislature. I don't think that they should change it.
Yeah, me too. And from what I saw, the majority of the committee was on par with that. They have a bad taste, and we all do in the state. We have a bad taste in our mouth from the liquor industry when they capped liquor licenses, and we saw liquor licenses go for millions of dollars, and in the cannabis industry here, that's no different. There's people here who predicted that, and then they bought a license or a few licenses, and they're hoarding them because yesterday, I know a few myself. And yesterday they kind of called those people out, and they also said, well, if we have these many licenses and this many percentages are actually operating, what's going on? And they brought that up. They said some people are hoarding it, because they're kind of waiting for the licenses to close. And I kind of feel that we shouldn't close licenses for that reason. And another reason is the people that are pushing for this, I have a feeling they're going to keep pushing to keep it closed whenever the time comes. Say we lose too many dispensaries, or we don't have enough. We're back to the medical cannabis days where we only had 30 freaking dispensaries and they wouldn't open licenses at all. They would never, ever, ever open licenses, guys. You don't know how hard it was to get them to open up to 30 licenses, let alone that, because before we didn't even have 30 licenses. We had far less. We had 15 or something.
And then the entry fee would be too high for most people. I mean, you'd have to be a millionaire. I mean, I would have loved to got in 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it wasn't realistic for the entry fee into this industry at that time.
Yeah. And to be honest, if they did it when they wrote the bill initially, when we started the industry, that's one thing. But now we're at this point where we're just going to have to let the industry play out, and it's just going to have to be the open market. And it's stabling itself out now. The people who shouldn't be here are starting to kind of fizzle out. The people who have bad product, bad customer service, or they just don't know how to run a business, or they don't know how to train their employees or pick employees, they're all kind of starting to fizzle out. And that's the natural process. And I feel like it's too early as well in the industry. It's been a year. And people are already throwing the challenge flag. Oh, throw the licenses. Oh my God. Like, oh,
5-10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not even just barely over a year, just a few months ago, So
yeah,
you can't necessarily cap it. Oh, I'm sure that surge and that initial surge was still keeping them busy, But the license rate isn't anywhere near what it was. There's probably a few trickling in each month. That type of thing. But I think we'll probably see it go down at least 10-15% over this next year or two, just because some people are going to, unfortunately, like you said, either by bad business practices, maybe unforeseen stuff, you just have a little bit of bad luck, or you're just not good at the cannabis, or you don't like it. There's going to be X amount of those people that get out of it, and then you're going to have people that are like legacy, where it's it's their baby, able to stick through tough times and stick it out. But I think it'll all level out. Like, if you suck at business, you won't be in business, especially in cannabis. You really got to know what you're doing long term. I think Google has a stat that 70% of cannabis licenses fail after a decade. And I can see that I can. After I would have never thought of it. After seeing how hard they make certain things and how volatile it is, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, it does. And it's hard to make money when they keep adding regulations onto and compounding it. Like, we already have to pay 280E off the bat. Right off the bat, there's 280E, boom, gone. And then you can't claim taxes on anything. You can't sit there and say, well, I did, donated this or this and this, or, I bought this many supplies. We can't do that in the cannabis industry. And they did bring that up to the legislators and everything. And a lot of it goes back to the federal government. Like, the state can only do so much, until the federal government changes things, because the federal government and the state, they're on two separate law things, guys. I know it's confusing, but it is what it is. And we have no choice but to wait. And, right now we're waiting on the federal government to kind of tell us if they're going to reschedule it, if they're not, et cetera, et cetera. But right now here in New Mexico, I kind of feel that, we'll be fine. Some people are just freaking out because they're going to lose their livelihood. They're going to lose their business. But we all know what we were getting into when we decided to get into the cannabis industry, or any business really. Like, restaurants are along the same line, I believe, of dispensaries of closure rate. If no one feels bad for those guys when they go out of business, like, oh, that sucks, I love that place, but they're not telling the state to close the restaurants because there's too many restaurants. Like, restaurants and fast food places are popping up all over the place still. Like, I'm from Alamogordo originally, and they keep adding them.
Food trucks. I bet we have more food trucks than we do restaurants now.
Yeah.
Which I'm not complaining. Some of them are great, But I agree. I think it'll wean itself out over time.
Yeah, exactly. We don't stop Walmarts or any of that, but we for some reason want to stop dispensaries. Like, it's a little ridiculous to me. So hopefully it doesn't go through. Hopefully that gets changed. And that's not the case. But we'll see. Just to let you guys know that all of these ideas and stuff that were talked about yesterday doesn't change any law. It doesn't get put into a bill right now and get voted on next week. We don't have a legislative session until January of this next year, January, February of next year. That's when our legislative sessions happen here in New Mexico. Then every other year we have a 60-day session. And then every year in between that, it's a 30-day session. The way that you remember it is every odd year is a 60-day session. Every even year is a 30-day session. And if you want to make it easier, just remember the odd year fact, and that'll probably help you. So odd years, 60-day session.
That's good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah. So there you go. Teaching people all day.
Absolutely.
So
if they do a full session, I remember a couple of years ago, I was hoping they were going to pass it, and something or other happened. They shortened it by a few days, I believe. I was like, well, no weed this year. Bummer.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, even this change, because the CCD does not have any power to cut off licenses. So I see people like, please cut them off. I'm like, they can't do anything. It's law. It literally says they cannot cut off licenses. And I don't see people or that idea going away. So for me, I am personally against shutting off licenses completely. However, if you are going to propose this, I at least want to propose correctly, because I just keep hearing shut off licenses with no plan really. It's just shut off licenses and that's it. There needs to be a plan in place. And to be honest, the legislators all agree that if there would be that case, which most of them feel that there shouldn't be, that there would be a pause and there would be a mandatory expiration date. And no one really knew, like, at the time when I was there, how to implement that. And I was thinking, as I was sitting in the audience, I was like, there has to be a way to ensure, because these people that are wanting this, a lot of them are just not doing well business wise, or they're afraid of losing their business. And I have a feeling that when it comes time to open these licenses up again, if that was the case, they're not going to allow it. They're just going to fight it. My livelihood, my license is now worth this much. Now it's not going to be worth that. The same arguments they made on the liquor side, for them to not to open it. So what I did is afterwards, I went up to Katie Duhigg and I said, okay, so I flat out told her, I was like, I'm not a fan of closing licenses at all. That's fine. That's people's opinion. But I do feel that it does need to be done right. And there needs to be an expiration. I gave her the same, reasoning that I told you. She said, that is a worry. Okay, you're right. I said, so what it should be is a pause with and this is my revised version after talking to someone afterwards. And 6 months at a time, no more than twice. So no more than a year at a time. And then after that, 3 years, it stays open. So you pause it for 6 months, look at it. If you need to, you pause it again for 6 months. And that's the second time. And you can no longer pause again for 3 years. And even then, you still have to go back and look. It has to be enacted. It'd be something that expires on its own and has to be looked at again. And if you do it twice, tough shit. You got to wait. Because that seems fair to me if that was going to be the case.
I think it's
fair is just keeping it open, because this is a bunch of shit that you got to go through again, create more rules, more laws, and make it more confusing just for the fact that people are scared, like out of fear.
I like the compromise there, because I mean, if the major money in the state is pushing to close licenses, more than likely that's what's going to happen. But how can we at least have it on our terms as much, at least allowing people to have that entry is all they need. And even if, you have to shut down even half the year every year, if it's license season, it's license season at a worst case, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. And we'll have more people move to New Mexico and we can have everybody have a weed shop. I mean, that'd be a perfect world. But I think as long as money is involved, there's going to be those people pushing to, constrain it, obviously for monetary gain. So I see where they're coming from on that, but I'm with you, man. I would be crushed if I was told I couldn't open up a dispensary because, there's a cap or this thing or that thing. If I'm capable and I meet all your rules and expectations, I don't want to hear shit.
Yeah, me too. And some of the other issues that stems from is, lack of oversight from the CCD. And that's fair. We're a very rural state and it's very sparse. They are hiring new people to do this job for them so they can do compliance officer stuff. But they were telling the committee that they're going to need more funding, which I agree. I think the CCD does need more funding because they're doing a really big job. And there's a lot that goes into this. And I feel the more funding that they get, the better job that they're going to do for us in the long run. So yeah, I agree. So if you guys have the means, you want to talk to your representatives, tell them the CCD needs, a bigger funding, because I agree. They can implement things for us. And to be honest, I love their campaign for, safe cannabis use and storage and stuff like that. It's hilarious and it's great. And they have like these flyers you can download. And I kind of feel like, maybe some shop owners could download them and put them in their shop, because it's even teaching parents how to store their cannabis or, like informational stuff, just like simple things.
Yeah. That's actually a big thing lately is around your kids and child lock and all that stuff. So it's actually good that we're modeling at least that figure, because there's a lot of different ways we could have went about that. So
100%. Yeah. But we decided to go.
They tax us so much. They should be giving the CCD all the support that they need.
And that's one thing that they talked about too. And I forgot to mention is they did talk about the taxes. And I've mentioned this many times that we're going to have to go back and look at these taxes. We cannot increase it again. We are at a threshold at this total of 21%, depending where you are in the state. We're at a threshold right now. If we go any higher, people are just going to go straight to the black market, and then we just shot ourselves in the damn foot. So that was one thing that was brought up, and legislature did agree, like, yeah, we're going to have to look at these taxes, because someone brought up, I think alcohol is only like 5 or 7%. And it's like, and we have cannabis over here. It's like, double that.
Double.
Yeah, more than double that. So it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. So that's something that's going to have to be looked at. I get it. We're taxing the crap out of it. We're making a lot of money, but at what cost? Like, we're trying to kill the black market. We're only really going to shrink it to the point where you can't see it, but we're not helping that by having the taxes so damn high, because there's no tax on the black market. You guys got to remember that, like, you're going from an unsafe market that isn't taxed, maybe a little cheaper, to something that's regulated and taxed, but the cost is too high. What are people going to do? They're going to go the other route. Of course.
That's the one foot that we're going to have to sit on, because still right now, black market's technically better priced than most medical markets, or recreational markets. And as long as the quality is being pushed, then it's going to be that war, unless we're given a little bit of an upper hand. And I don't know anybody that wouldn't be fine matching black market prices. You know what I mean? But yeah, that tax and some of the rules in place, like the not being able to write off any taxes, it makes it very tight, very tight. Where there's other states like Missouri, they're doing it successfully, and I think they have a cannabis excise tax of 6%.
Yeah.
And it's just, I get, all right, let's pay New Mexico. Thank you for giving us the license, blah, 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 blah. But all right, let's lower it back down. That way that, the people that are from New Mexico can actually keep their businesses here and can keep investing into the community. Versus paying, what's it, 12, 14? And I think isn't it scheduled to raise as well, if I'm not mistaken?
In 2025, I think it's going to 15 or 20%, something like that. And it's going to go all the way, I believe, to 30. So that's why they're going to have to revise this sometime soon, because the taxes are going up very soon. Like next year, they're going to have to, because, that's just going to hurt the industry. And they added that to make people happy.
If they get up to 30%, you're going to have people not paying taxes, and they will 100% be in the black market.
And there's people already in the industry not paying taxes. That's already an issue now.
Absolutely.
And so, that's another thing that, they talked about was, people not paying their taxes and this and that. And then banking, that was, this will be the last thing I'll talk about, guys, and we'll end the show for the day. But they did talk about banking, and that is a big concern, because some people are paying like $500 just to cash a check, and a certain percentage just to be existing. And Senator Cervantes, hate him or love him, he did make a good point. They're going off of federal stuff, and so we're like Al Capone. The bankings, they did the same thing to him when he was doing his illegal stuff, and it's the cost of doing a federally illegal business with a legal bank. And I hate to agree with that. And an old country asshole told me once, there's a way things are and a way things should be. And, unfortunately, in this case, that's the way it is, until something happens with banking. And we really need to push for the federal banking stuff to really go through, because that's going to save us.
It's huge.
So that's going to be huge. Like, it's massive. Like, a lot of people don't understand how big that's going to be. You can use your debit card at the freaking dispensary.
And other industries too. Just like, the amount of fee and percentage that they charge to have cannabis banking, in my opinion, is robbery. In a sense. So, for it to be descheduled federally, it'll allow all the banks the same playing field, and all these other sub industries, whether it be insurance, you'll actually be able to get a loan to start a business, a cannabis business. It will open up a lot of different economic areas of boom, in my opinion. So hopefully they do that sooner and later, man. Hopefully.
I do too. It's something that I'll be watching closely, and I'll keep you guys updated on. If anything changes on that front, of course, I'm going to talk about it. So, but that's everything I had, everyone. If I forgot something, or if I didn't mention something about that committee hearing, I'm sorry. It was like a 9-hour day. I can't remember everything that happened in the day, but these are some of the most important parts of the day that I really wanted to talk about. They did mention something about like event licenses, like a temporary kind of event license, because they understand that we're doing illegal events, and all these events, we should at least just do it right. So that was kind of cool for them to be like, we know what's going on. They're going to do it anyway. Let's just let them do it right. So hopefully soon we'll be able to have like cannabis festivals where you can go there, you can smoke there, you can buy cannabis legally from like Bud Board, and you can toke up and, say thank you and walk away and enjoy the rest of the festival. So hopefully that will be something soon we'll see here in New Mexico. if that does happen, that will be a very happy day because I will feel more free.
Put us on the map.
It will. It really will. And I really hope they do that because it'll put us on the map. The last bonus thing, I'm sending out the box to Maui today, a couple of boxes. So I've been gathering all those donations for my friends over in Maui. They're still dealing with all that devastation that happened over there. If you guys don't know, I lived in Hawaii for years. And I hold it near and dear to my heart. And today I'm getting that sent out. Finally, we got some word from my friend Chris. We're going to send it a different way, but we just decided to get it out there. So shout out to my friend Chris. And yeah, that's everything I have this week. Do you have anything, James, before we head out of here?
No, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate your time, and it was a good conversation. We'll have to do it again sometime. And you got to come down to Carlsbad and hang out with the Budboard crew for a day this year.
Okay, for sure, man. Yeah, I'll try to make that happen. I think I'm headed there sometime in a couple of weeks, so we'll see what's up.
Sounds good, man.
All right, man. Well, everybody, thank you again for joining. I'll see y'all next week for another show of #Grassy Logic. All right. Shoots.